Hey, everybody, welcome to the Park People podcast. Today we have a special edition for Camp Fest, which is taking place February 24th to the 26th. It's a free virtual conference at prbplus.com, free to attend, free to register, free to grow your learning. Today we are with Rachel Williams. Rachel has a wonderful session on where AI and the camp market and the camp software kind of come together and how that can have huge implications for not only workflow and efficiency, but even taking your work into the mobile space and just making it a better communication strategy. So it's everything from how to use it to better promote your camp to how to run your camp. So Rachel, hopefully I haven't misspoken there, and if I have, feel free to
Yeah.
correct me.
No, that's
But why
awesome.
don't you give us a 30,000 foot view? Welcome to the podcast and 30,000 foot view of what we can expect.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to be a part of CamFest, and excited to talk to everybody about really the intersection of AI and how it can be used in camp operations in general. And, I think what we'll start the conversation on is really broadly just taking a view of like why AI should matter to all of us right now. And, someone said to me recently, you should think of AI as like when you were back in school and you were assigned a group project and the smartest person in your class was assigned to your group, and you're just really excited because you're like, that person's going to make me look good. And that's the way I think about AI, as how it can be represented in a department or any recreation organization. And so I'm excited to kind of have that conversation, share how we think about it, from the technology sense, talk about what it both is and what it isn't. There are so many things that AI is not, particularly in how it, cannot do things like replacing the community expertise that everybody has or run on its own. It's really there as a supporting function to all of the amazing people and the staff behind the scenes. And then we'll do like a bit of a deep dive into like high impact use cases for how this can impact and be helpful in camp operations. So talking about, for example, things about like how you can be using AI to manage and grow participation, how you can be thinking about using it to reduce your admin over time, like doing the paperwork and doing the things that just take you away from actually being a part of the programming and the camp, and passing that all off to your kind of like AI partner on that side. And then we'll talk a little bit more tactically about how we actually get that start, how you get started with thinking about it. It's kind of, I think, overwhelming for a lot of teams to be like, what do you mean? Like, how do I do AI in my day-to-day job? And so it's like, how can you identify one specific thing that could really make a difference in your organization? Some tips on like how you select what that is and what it isn't to make sure that that it can be successful and you can learn from it. And then we'll also maybe throw in a couple live demos of how we're thinking about AI, and get the folks involved too, and do some engagement and really understand how people are using it today, and keep the conversation going from there. So I'm super
Great.
excited to have this conversation.
Okay, great. I do have one question for you that comes up a lot. So
Yeah.
we had an AI boot camp, right, in Park Fest last fall, and from that we learned that there are a lot of definitions of what AI is. Maybe that's the wrong word. A lot of
Yeah.
different ways that people use AI, and that there's a little bit sometimes of a, I'm going to say, fear factor. Maybe that's the wrong terminology. If people haven't done it other than maybe use it in replacement of like Google search, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't know the different variations of it. They don't know, they're just dipping their toes in the water. If somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience in AI comes into this, are they going to be overwhelmed, or it sounds to me like you're going to start at the beginning and bring them along a little bit, like give them some strategies about how they can become more adept. Is that correct?
That's exactly it. We'll start very high level and talk about AI, but we'll make it practical to examples of use cases that exist in camp and recreation organizations, so that it can kind of really like make sense and be applied to something that you're thinking about. And we'll really take it step by step and say like, how are little things you could do to start leveraging it in your day to day.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I know there's a lot of excitement, obviously, around the tool. A lot of people have embraced it at some very high levels. There's issues, some of our places are public spaces. Some of them deal with kids, underage
Yeah.
kids. So privacy and, safety and some of those things is always a little bit of a concern. But it's an amazing tool, right? And
Yep.
it's baked into a lot of our tools that we're already using. We may be using it without knowing it in some cases, and so it's
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a wonderful session. We really appreciate you taking the time to share it with us. If if you're the expert and I'm just the knucklehead here, so if you were me, is there anything that you would ask yourself that people should know about this that we didn't talk about before we close the window here?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a good prompt that I always like to ask folks, and it's kind of adjacent to AI, but I think it's like something that can get your mind spinning is like, if you could have a magic wand and there could be one thing that you could change about your day to day or like erase from your day to day, whether that's like manually issuing refunds or, just like doing something that feels feels like it's wasting your time, like what would that be and how would you change it? And then we can use a lot of those examples usually to be the things that we think we can apply AI to. So that would be like a prompt I would give to everybody as that's interested in joining the session.
Yeah, it's excellent. I mean, that's something that we do here is always like, how do we get, a 0.5% better each day, right? Can we
Yeah.
can we, whether it's even how we have our desk arranged or
Yeah,
or if it's
totally.
like it was like
Totally.
there's this one task that I know should have been automated years ago, and today's the day that we're going to get it done.
I love it. That's exactly
Yeah,
it.
right. Cool. Well, Rachel, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We look forward to your presentation and have a great week.
Thank you. I'm excited to be there.